Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the May 2025 OCHMIS user meeting. If you haven't already done so, please enter your agency name and your name in the chat box. On the agenda today, we have a new staff update. We have our HMIS participating agency schedule, the assigned CES case manager, pre-assessment screening form update, adding documents to a client's record, the bed reservation workflow, maintaining households on the community queue, CS clients active with service provider and on CES community queue report, training and resources, the project performance report, the data and performance management meeting, proposed changes to data standards, the 2025 agency audits, and we have our survey and holiday and our Q&A and office hours. We will be providing the meeting materials and recordings on the OCHMIS website, and we will be sending out a follow-up recap newsletter. First up, we have our Q&A. We recommend that you use this Q&A function in Zoom so we can better organize your questions. We request that you keep your questions general and related to the topics discussed in the meeting. Agency-specific questions are best supported through the HMIS Help Desk ticket submission, so our team can further investigate and provide assistance for your specific issue. Elizabeth?
Good morning, everyone. We have a new staff update. Hannah will be joining our HMS team as the HMS data analyst. So we wanted to let our community know to please feel free to welcome Hannah as you will see her name pop up in our ticket queue. Thank you.
Next up, we have the HMIS participating agency schedule. This is something that we are going to highlight in every meeting so that you're aware of any reports or activities that are coming up in HMIS. We understand that this particular screenshot is kind of an eye chart with all the different information, but we did want to point out that there are HUD required reports. Then we also have our Orange County reports, and then Orange County requirements such as our audits and user recertification, and then finally our HMIS lead meetings. So on the schedule that we wanted to highlight, of course, we're still going through our housing inventory count and sheltered point in time count. We are still pending updates from HUD when HDX 2.0 opens for the HIC and sheltered pit submission. And we are pending final HMIS and HDX data review. We also wanted to highlight that the HMIS agency audits are coming up, and the scheduling will start in June and go through December. Next up, we have Rachel.
Good morning, everyone. The HMIS team would like to share guidance on the process for assigning a CES case manager. CES case managers are those who are primarily responsible for the CES navigational support of the CES enrolled client, which includes any CES coordination and housing match communication. Though other CES access point agencies can collaboratively offer navigational support, it is the assigned CES case manager's responsibility. Over time, the CES case managers may need to be updated to reflect which staff is taking the lead for CES navigation. After care coordination is complete and it was determined, the new primary access point will transition to take on the responsibilities to support the client under the CES enrollment. Next slide, please. And then here we have the steps. Step 1, you will switch over to the County of Orange agency from your primary agency. Step 2, you will search for the client and select the client. Step 3, you will go to the CES enrollment under the Programs tab and click the Edit pencil. Next slide, please. And step 4, under this section, you will see a sideboard section to the right and click the Edit pencil next to the assigned staff. And then step 5, you will choose yourself from the list and then click Save Changes. Next slide, please. And then step 6, you will navigate to the enrollment screen and update the access point over to your agency, and then click Save and Close. If you do not know who to assign as a case manager, please contact the CES lead admin team to provide next steps. For additional information, please review the KB on reassigning case managers. That link is included in the chat. Next slide, please.
Okay, we'll be
Right,
switching over to the demo. So let me go ahead and stop sharing. So Rachel, you can go ahead and share.
All right. Diana, can you confirm if you see the OC training site?
Yes.
All right, great, thank you. I'm going to give folks a couple of moments in case they would like to follow along for this demo, so they can log into the training site. All right. So the first thing I will do is I will switch my primary agency to the County of Orange. And then I will go and search for my client. I will select my client. And then I will go to the Programs tab. And then I will go to the CES enrollment. Then I will go over here to the sideboard section, and I will click this little edit pencil. And here I'm going to change it from Elizabeth to myself. And then I'm going to click Save Changes. And then I'm going to go ahead and go over to the Enrollment tab here. And I'm going to scroll down, and then I'm going to update the access point to my agency, which we'll say is Agency 3, since Elizabeth was at Agency 2. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, Rachel. Let me go ahead and share my screen again. Okay, everyone, you should be seeing the demo slide. And let me go ahead and advance over to our next topic. So this is also Rachel.
Yes, updates have been made to the pre-assessment screening form and tool. Some of these updates include adding language to the emotional, verbal, and psychological abuse definition sections. This form can be accessed on our website by navigating to the HMIS Forms and Documents, Client Data Collection, Forms, and then CES Documents.
Okay, thank you for that. Next, we have Hugo.
Good morning, everyone. Today I'll begin by discussing how to add documents to a client's record. Users are able to add client documentation in HMIS, which can help streamline the process for connecting clients to housing opportunities. General documentation such as ID card, driver's license, etc., can be added to a client's record for cross-agency use. To add documents to a client's record, you would first navigate to the client's client profile. Second, switch over to the File tab and click on the Add File icon. And then third, add the appropriate file and complete the category and predefined name fields. Click on the Save Changes button to save the document. Next slide, please. Specific documentation related to project eligibility requirements can be added to a client's project enrollment for internal use. To add documents to a client's project enrollment, you would first navigate to the client's client profile. Second, switch over to the Programs tab and click on the Edit icon next to the specific project that needs documentation. Third, switch over to the File subtab and click on the Add File icon. Fourth, add the appropriate file and complete the category and predefined name fields. Click on the Save Changes button to save the document. More information about this topic can be found in our Adding Documents to a Client's Record KB article. Bed reservation process. Households can be considered for placement in available coordinated entry housing opportunities if the head of household is enrolled in the bed reservation system. To accomplish this, a head of household must have an active enrollment in either an individual or family coordinated entry system project, a homeless verification or chronically homeless verification form on file in HMIS, a completed current living situation assessment, a completed bed reservation assessment, and a needs bed reservation assistance service. Next slide, please. Before a household can be added to the bed reservation system, users should first verify that the head of household is enrolled in either an individual or family coordinated entry system project. Navigate to the head of household's client profile, and then switch over to their History tab. Utilize the View drop-down button and change the type search field to Programs. Click Search to refine the client's history to include only project enrollments. Verify that the head of household is enrolled in either an individual or family coordinated entry project. Please note that if the head of household is not enrolled in either an individual or family coordinated entry project, Access Point staff can enroll the head of household into the appropriate project by utilizing our Enrolling Clients in a Project KB article. Next slide, please. In order for a household to be considered for available housing opportunities, the head of household must have either a homeless verification or chronically homeless verification form uploaded to their client record. Navigate to the head of household's client profile and switch over to their Files tab. Verify that the file has been uploaded. If not, then click on the Add File icon to upload the document. When uploading the file, change the category drop-down field to Coordinated Entry Documentation and select the type of verification that has been received by the head of household. Click Add Record to save the changes. Next slide, please. The head of household must have a completed bed reservation assessment and a current living situation assessment in order for the household to be added to the bed reservation system. Navigate to the Head of Household Assessment subtab within their CES enrollment and click on the Start button next to the OC Custom Individual Bed Reservation Assessment or OC Custom Family Bed Reservation Assessment. The specific assessment will depend on whether the client is enrolled in either an individual or family coordinated entry project. Answer all the assessment questions and click on the Save button. Repeat this process to navigate to and complete the Current Living Situation Assessment. Please note that users can refer to the Completing Current Living Situation Assessment KB article for additional help on this step. Next slide, please. The head of household must have a needs bed reservation assistance service for the entire household to be considered for available housing opportunities. Navigate to the head of household to provide services subtab within their CES enrollment, and then click on the caret next to the bed reservation waitlist service. And then navigate to the needs bed reservation assistance service item. Ensure that the event date is accurate and click on the submit button next to save the service. Please note that the head of household needs bed reservation assistance service must be renewed every week the household wants to be considered for housing opportunities. If the service is not renewed every week, then the household will no longer be considered for housing. Next slide, please. Once all the prerequisites have been met, the household can be added to the bed reservation community queue. Navigate to the head of household assessment subtab within their CES enrollment. Under the program eligibility determination section, click forward on the bed reservation toggle, and then click on refer directly to community queue button. Users can refer to the adding households to the bed reservation community queue KB article for more detailed information about this entire process.
Okay, we will be switching over to the bed reservation demo, so let me go ahead and stop sharing.
Hi, Diana. Just to confirm, can you see my screen right now? I should be
Yes.
on the training site.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So everyone, when you want to add someone to the bed reservation system, the first step, of course, is to make sure that they are enrolled in a CES project. The first thing we will do is navigate over to the clients or the head of households history tab. Depending on the specific client, this may be a very long page. So an easy trick that you can do is click on the advanced search options, and then under type, select programs, hit search, and this will filter their history to include only programs. As you can see, this client is in fact enrolled in the family coordinated entry system, so we are good to go on that front. The next step to do would be to verify that they have some sort of homeless verification on file in HMIS. You will navigate over to their Files tab, wait for that to load, and see that they have some sort of homeless verification on file in HMIS. I do want us to take a second to note that if they don't have a file in HMIS regarding their homeless verification, that users will need to add. As you can see, the specific category for this document is coordinated entry documentation, and the specific predefined name is chronic homeless verification. When you are adding this type of documentation into HMIS, it is important that you choose the correct category and predefined name. The reason you want to be careful when choosing these is because the CES admin team are on the lookout specifically for coordinated entry documentation and homeless verification. If you choose the wrong category or file name, then it may delay the client's opportunity to be connected to housing opportunities. Once you have verified that they have a homeless verification file on record in HMIS, then you will go ahead and complete the assessments for that client. You'll navigate over to their Programs tab, click on the edit icon next to their CES enrollment, navigate over to their Assessments subtab, and then you will complete a current living situation assessment, as well as the OC custom bed reservation assessment. Since this is a family coordinated entry project, it will read family bed reservation assessment. However, if they are enrolled in an individual coordinated entry project, it will read individual bed reservation assessment. Once these reservation assessments have been successfully completed, they will populate here in the assessment history section of the page. Once these have been completed, you will then navigate over to the Provide Services subtab, select the bed reservation waitlist service, and then add the specific bed reservation assistance service. Please note that this service item must be completed every week that the client wishes to be considered for housing opportunities. Since this service item does expire on a weekly basis, we actually recommend that you complete it before the week is up. So rather than on the 7-day mark, you will complete it on the 6-day mark. When completing this service, please take extra caution of the event date to make sure that you are falling within a week. To make sure that this service has been successfully added, you can navigate over to their history subtab and then see that the assistant service has been added. Once all of these prerequisites have been made, you will then navigate back to their assessment subtab, navigate down to their assessment history, and under their bed reservation assessment, you will see a button appear that says eligibility. You will click on that button, and it will take you to this screen right here. The final step to add a client to the bed reservation community queue is to hit forward on the bed reservation toggle and then click on refer directly to community queue. And I believe that's all from me. So I'm going to pass it on back to you, Diana.
You, Hugo. So we know that is a lot of information for everyone. We will be providing the materials in our wrap-up newsletter, and the materials will be provided on our OCHMIS website. Michaela?
Good morning, everyone. We wanted to provide some information about maintaining households on the community queue. So while a household is on the community queue, their case manager should be checking in with them regularly. If a household is on the community queue for more than 90 days with no activity, it will be automatically removed. Please note that removal from the community queue occurs early in the morning on the 90th day, so activity should be entered into HMIS by the end of the 89th day. In order to keep households active on the community queue, a case manager can do any of the following: check in on the referral page, add a note to the head of household's record, update the current living situation, or add a coordinated entry event. Please review the knowledge base article, Maintaining Households on the Community Queue, for more information.
Okay, and again, we're going to be doing a demo, so I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen.
Thank you. Diana, can you confirm that you see the training website?
Yes.
Thank you. For our demonstration today, I'm going to be sharing the 2 common ways to maintain a household on the community queue. We also have 2 additional ways to keep the client's information active. We ask that you please review our KB article for more information. The first common update we see often would be checking in with the client. Once the household is on the community queue, the head of household should be checking in with their case manager regularly to confirm that they are still interested in housing assistance. We will start by searching for the client by their first 3 letters of their first and last name. Since I have already used my client's information, they will be in the recent searches. So I'll go ahead and select my client here. Once we get to the client's profile page, we'll go ahead and navigate to the head of household's history page. We will then click on the edit button next to the current community queue referral. And then you will locate the last activity section and click on the check-in button. The last activity section will update with the most current date. The second most common update we see is completing a current living situation assessment. CLS assessment should be completed for CES clients. When a CES assessment or coordinated entry event is recorded, when the client's living situation changes, or when 90 days has passed since the last CLS assessment. Within the same client's profile, we want to go ahead and navigate to the Programs tab, and then we will click the Edit button next to the CES enrollment. You will be taken to the Enrollment's History tab. Please click on the Assessments tab, and then locate the Current Living Situation assessment. You will then select Start, and in the pop-up window, select the clients that you would like to update this information for. Remember that this information must be collected for head of households and adults. Once the clients are selected, you will go ahead and click Add Current Living Situation. On the new screen, you will go ahead and select the current living situation on the drop-down, which in my example would be the hospital. The living situation verified by, it would be the ICES. Is the client going to leave their current living situation within 14 days? We'll go ahead and select no. And then the location details, in which for our client would be hospital. We also have an optional geolocation button, and this field is intended to be a supplement to the required assessment questions. You will then go ahead and select Save and Close. If a temporary or permanent housing situation is selected, you want to answer any additional housing status questions to support the determination of imminent or at risk of homelessness housing status based on HUD's definition.
And Michaela, if I can add a note.
Yes.
Thank you, Michaela, for showing the demo. Our training site does mirror our live site, but not exact. So just wanted to clarify when adding the current living situation, when situation verified, please expand the menu list and select your agency from the pick list. We have additional information in our KB that shows the step-by-step, just as Michaela shared here in the demo. So we do encourage users to please review the KB and review the steps. And if there's any questions, feel free to escalate to the HMS agency admin, and they can escalate to the HMS help desk if any additional support or training is needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And Diana, thank you so much. That is the end for my demo.
Okay, thank you, Michaela. Let me go ahead and share my screen again. Okay, everyone should be seeing the demo page again.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Michaela?
CES clients active with service provider and on the CES community queue. This report lists all clients active in a project at the service provider's agency and whether or not that client is currently on the coordinated entry community queue. The report includes the project name, project type, and the project start and end dates for the client's current enrollment at the service provider's agency, whether or not the client is on the CES community queue, and the date they were added, as well as the client's responses to the CES assessment questions. The navigation to get to the report is Reports, Data Analysis, OC Clarity System Reports, and then CES clients active with service provider and on CES CQ. We have also provided 2 knowledge-based articles, Coordinated Entry Reports KB article, as well as a Coordinated Entry Report attachment. Continuing on, this is the report that we would upload. On the left side of the report, it shows client's profile and the service provider enrollment data. We have removed any client identifying information on this report, so you may see some empty areas to the further left. Next slide, please. On the further right side of the report, if a client has any enrollment in the CES, they will have data populated. Their CES assessment data will also be available as shown above.
Thank you, Michaela. Could I share some notes?
Sure.
Thank you. As Michaela mentioned, this is a dashboard. So part of the report, the left section of the report will include data from the service provider. So we encourage users to run this report and adjust the filter to your agency to see your agency data, verify your enrollment data is accurate, and as well as review the coordinated entry data, verifying that for participants that should be active in coordinated entry, have an active referral, have an active assessment, making sure all the information matches up to your record, and as well check the file name, make sure all the documentation that's required for eligibility is entered. If you see any information that's not accurate, please go ahead and make those updates in Clarity. Any missing documentation, go ahead and go and upload that. It's important to make sure that all the information is accurate for your reporting purposes, as well as coordinated entry for matching. It streamlines matching when your agency is able to verify all the information is up to date and accurate, and all the forms that need to be uploaded is available in Clarity. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth and Michaela. Again, we know that this is a lot of information and we will be providing it in our wrap-up. Amy?
Yes, good morning, everybody. The OCHMIS team will be hosting the following Looker trainings during the month of May. We'll be hosting the Introduction to Looker training, which will take place on Wednesday, May 28th at 11 a.m., followed by a deeper dive into Looker training on Thursday, May 29th at 1 p.m. Users who are interested in attending must register in advance, and you can navigate to the OCHMIS calendar and the meetings link docked in the chat to find the registration link to register. Slide, please. The project performance reports for the month of May, we're going to be sharing the draft data for emergency shelter projects, which will be published on our OCHMIS website in the upcoming weeks. Current and past PPRs can be found on the OCHMIS website by navigating to the Reports tab and selecting Project Performance Reports. Additionally, the Project Performance Overview is a helpful document that provides important information regarding the PPRs, including the thresholds for each goal and our publishing schedule. Next slide. Please also join us for the next Data and Performance Management meeting scheduled for Wednesday, May 14th at 10 a.m. During the meeting, we will be reviewing Emergency Shelter PPR, Street Outreach PPR, Homeless Prevention PPR, and the Q1 Data Quality Report. You can click on the links in the slide, as well as the attached links document in the chat, or navigate to OCHMIS's calendar to access the meeting links, IDs, and passcodes.
You, Amy. So we wanted to go over some proposed data standard changes. During the HMIS Leads webinar on April 16th, 2025, there was an announcement that the gender and sexual orientation data elements will be retired on October 1st, excuse me. Sex will be added as a new program-specific data element. Vendors have been instructed not to map gender data to the new sex data element. Agencies may need to collect the sex data element for active clients as of October 1st. And we will learn more about this when the data standards are officially changed. COC board will determine whether or not the COC should continue to collect the gender and sexual orientation data elements after October 1st, and we will share that decision with users when it is made. The changes are proposed at this point, but have not been finalized. Agencies should continue to collect data elements available in HMIS, as these data elements reflect the published data standards. So again, we want to reiterate that these are proposed changes for October 1st, and we will provide updates to the community as these data standards are finalized and are rolled out. So please be on the lookout for that. For the 2025 agency audits, we will start conducting those soon. We will reach out to your agency 2 weeks before the available audit meeting dates, so you have a few options to schedule your audit, and you'll also have time to prepare for your audit. Please be on the lookout for our email to schedule your agency audit in June. We will be scheduling audits throughout the summer and fall months to accommodate all agencies. Next up, we have our HMIS meeting survey. Our HMIS Help Desk team invites users to complete the HMIS user meeting survey. Please let us know what topics you're interested in review for the upcoming monthly meetings. We've also added an additional question about Looker training, so you can provide any topics that you may be interested in for the training course. And again, we're going to provide this link in the chat in our links document. It's also going to be in our presentation slides, and it's also going to be in our recap. So we encourage you to provide feedback, because we do take your topics to heart, and we'll highlight them in upcoming meetings. Amy?
Hey, Diana. The HMIS Help Desk will be closed on Monday, May 26th in observance of Memorial Day. We will be back in office the following business days to assist you.
Thank you, Amy. So this brings us to our Q&A session. If you haven't already done so, please enter your agency name in the chat box for attendance. That's very important for various reports that we work on. So please enter your agency name. And if you have any questions, please do go ahead and add them to our Q&A, or feel free to unmute yourself for the Q&A session on the topics we discussed on this particular meeting.
Hi, this is Angela.
Hi, Angela.
Martinez. I had a question about the CS case manager, and I know that we can reassign them, but what do we do if we can't?
Thank you for your question. So as mentioned in our training, you would have to have the user reassign directly, because when you're under County of Orange, it's only going to list the staff that are their primary agency is County of Orange. So that would be all the Office of Care Coordination staff. So because all access point and housing providers, we all have additional agency access to County of Orange. County of Orange is not listed as our primary agency. So the user that is currently responsible in supporting the participant would have to go in and reassign themselves as the assigned staff. And as mentioned, we do encourage users to please reach out to the CS lead and admin for additional guidance if um, there should be some care coordination discussion to see who is the primary access point that would be working with the participant, because we understand there is a lot of partnership and care coordination work that's being done, but only one assigned staff should be assigned to take lead on the CS enrollment and CS support activities.
Okay, and I do have a follow-up question for that. My team has been working extensively with, I guess there's a new procedure where if a guest or a client is being exited from the shelter, it depends on if they're working with another agency, if we unenroll them from ICES. But we have incurred some pushback with that with other agencies saying that it should be reassigned to County of Orange staff. Like, what information can I provide the other agency to show that this is the procedure that we're supposed to be taking and that's the procedure that we're taking?
Yeah, thank you for your question. I would like to ask that you submit a ticket so that we can further investigate and coordinate with the CS lead and admin team so that we can reach out for their guidance and share that information with you, as well as adding that in our meeting minutes to share back with our community.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Angela, for your questions. Wanted to open it back up to everyone if anyone had any questions regarding the meeting topics.
Hi, this is Carmen Turner. I have a question regarding the check-in versus a CLS. Can you, so in my mind, I'm thinking um, uh, an, a scenario when you would use a check-in versus a CLS, a CLS versus a check-in. Let's say, for example, if a client is in the emergency shelter and they go to a hospital or something else for a period of time, then that's when you do the CLS. Is that correct? I'm just trying to find out, since there you can use both of them, when would you use one over the other? Because most clients stay in most clients in a shelter stay, their location doesn't normally change in 90 days.
Yeah, Carmen, for your question. To ensure I understood your question, I believe you're asking when to add a current living situation and in different scenario. Is that correct? And if I could ask if you could repeat your question just to make sure I have all the points that you discussed.
Yes. Can you give me a scenario when you would add a current living situation versus a check-in? And I'm thinking, I guess I'm just adding to this. I'm thinking that an example of scenario would be, let's say a client in emergency shelter went to a hospital or something, so they're not in the shelter um, for the whole 90 days, but we still want to keep them active on the community queue. I'm just trying to figure a scenario for when you do one versus the other would be helpful, is my question.
Oh, thank you for clarifying that. And if we have any CS leader admin team, feel free to check in or please feel free to share. So for the check-in, option is you can check in just to make sure the participant is active on the community queue. And best practice is that 90-day should be entered when the living situation changes or every 90 days. So, for example, as you mentioned, if the participant was in an emergency shelter but had to go to the hospital, that's a change in current living situation. So you would then enter the current living situation assessment, even if it's before the 90-day, there was a change. And then for participants that are still in CS enrollment, every 90-day, a new current living situation should be entered, as that's best practice per the HMS data standards.
No.
I have a question. Sorry. So if you're doing a client living situation every 90 days, do you also need to do a client check-in? Do you have to do both?
Thank you for your question. To keep the participant active on the queue, one of the four action can be done. So if you're entering the current living situation, that would keep the participant active.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you everyone for your question. We're going to go ahead and add the links to our meeting minutes again. Feel free to review the KBs that have additional information and examples and demo videos within the KB.
Okay, we'll give everyone a few more moments if they have any questions regarding the meeting topics before we move on to office hours. Okay, doesn't seem like we have any more questions. Again, please enter your agency name in the chat box for attendance. And thank you everyone for joining us today. Our next user meeting is on June 4th, and I hope you have a great day. If you'd like to stay on for office hours, please do join us where you can ask any sort of general HMIS questions. If you don't have any questions, please feel free to hop off. Thank you for joining us.